Welcome, fellow truth seekers, to a deep dive into the bizarre, the baffling, and the downright unbelievable world of unjust legal outcomes. Prepare yourselves, because the stories we're about to uncover are so wild, you'll question the very fabric of our justice system. I'm talking about cases that make you wonder if the judge was on a different planet, or perhaps just had a really bad cup of coffee before handing down their verdict. A dog bite, simple enough, right? Wrong. In this particular instance, a chihuahua, a creature barely bigger than a loaf of bread, managed to inflict a supposedly debilitating injury on a grown man. The man, bless his heart, claimed lifelong trauma, demanding a settlement that would make even the most extravagant lottery winner blush. The lawyer's defense: "My client was traumatized by the sheer audacity of a chihuahua's bite." I'm not making this up, folks. When you hear this lawyer's defense, you'll spit out your coffee. The judge, to the utter disbelief of everyone in the courtroom, awarded a surprisingly hefty sum. Apparently, the sheer unexpectedness of the attack was enough to justify it. The sheer absurdity of it all is almost comical, if not for the injustice served. Next, we venture into the realm of property disputes. Imagine this: a family inherits a seemingly ordinary house, only to discover years later that a significant portion of their land is, in fact, legally owned by a neighboring squirrel. Yes, a squirrel. The court documents, I kid you not, refer to the squirrel as the rightful claimant, citing decades of uninterrupted possession of a small patch of garden. I wonder what planet the judge was on when they delivered that verdict. The lawyer representing the squirrel argued the squirrel exhibited clear signs of territoriality, a truly unforgettable argument that somehow swayed the court. The family, understandably, was left scratching their heads, and probably their heads alone, given the squirrel's apparent legal victory. But the legal oddities don't stop there. We've got cases involving misplaced blame, like the time a man sued a bakery for emotional distress because his purchased cake didn't look exactly like the picture on the box. The argument centered around false advertising, claiming the cake's aesthetic shortcomings caused him significant emotional turmoil. Believe it or not, the judge found in the man's favor, awarding him a sum that likely bought him several dozen identical cakes. The absurdity of it all is astonishing. Then there are the cases of mistaken identity, which often lead to incredible injustices. One particularly memorable case involved a man wrongly accused of a crime he didn't commit. The evidence was circumstantial, flimsy, and frankly, laughable. Yet, due to a series of unfortunate errors and procedural mishaps, the man spent years in prison before his innocence was finally proven. The emotional and financial toll on him and his family was immeasurable. This highlights a crucial point. The justice system, while striving for fairness, is fallible, and sometimes the weight of those failings crushes innocent lives. Let's not forget the cases where the law itself seems to be working against the individual. Think about the complexities of insurance claims, the labyrinthine world of contracts, or the sheer weight of legal jargon that can leave even seasoned professionals scratching their heads. Often, individuals find themselves entangled in legal battles they can't afford to fight, leaving them at the mercy of a system that, at times, feels designed to benefit those with greater resources and legal expertise. We've seen the comical, the tragic, and the downright perplexing. From chihuahua bites to squirrel land disputes, we've journeyed through a landscape of legal oddities that challenge our understanding of justice. But these stories aren't just for entertainment. They serve as a stark reminder of the imperfections within our legal systems. They highlight the need for constant reform, for greater accessibility to justice, and for a renewed focus on ensuring fairness and equity for all, regardless of their resources or the absurdity of the situation they find themselves in. Let's delve into a particularly egregious case of corporate malfeasance. A major pharmaceutical company knowingly released a drug with severe side effects, causing widespread harm to countless individuals. Despite overwhelming evidence, the company's deep pockets and powerful legal team managed to delay, obstruct, and ultimately minimize the consequences of their actions. The victims, many of whom suffered irreparable harm, were left with little recourse, their claims dismissed or significantly downplayed. This case showcases the immense power imbalance that can exist within the legal system, where wealth and influence often overshadow justice. And what about the plight of the wrongfully convicted? The statistics are chilling. Numerous individuals have spent years, even decades, in prison for crimes they did not commit, their lives irrevocably altered by the failures of the system. The emotional toll, the loss of opportunities, the damage to their reputations, these are consequences that often remain unaddressed, even after exoneration. The fight for justice, in these cases, is a long and arduous one, often requiring years of tireless work by dedicated lawyers and activists. Furthermore, consider the issue of bias within the legal system. Studies have repeatedly shown that racial, gender, and socioeconomic biases can significantly impact legal outcomes. Individuals from marginalized communities often face harsher penalties, less favorable treatment, and fewer opportunities for a fair hearing. This systemic bias undermines the very principles of justice and equality, perpetuating cycles of disadvantage. Addressing this requires a multifaceted approach, including reforms to policing practices, judicial training, and legal representation. And what about the cases where the sheer volume of paperwork and legal jargon overwhelms individuals, leading them to accept unjust settlements simply to avoid the overwhelming complexity of the process? This highlights a critical flaw in the system. The accessibility of justice should not be a privilege reserved for the wealthy and well-connected. Simplifying legal processes, providing greater access to legal aid, and promoting legal literacy are crucial steps in ensuring that everyone has a fair chance to navigate the legal system. The stories we've explored today, the bizarre, the tragic, and the frustrating, serve as a powerful reminder of the imperfections inherent in our legal systems. They're a call to action, a challenge to strive for greater fairness, transparency, and accountability. The fight for justice is an ongoing one, and it requires the collective effort of lawyers, judges, lawmakers, and citizens alike to ensure that the scales of justice are balanced, not tipped in favor of wealth, influence, or sheer absurdity. The pursuit of justice should never be a game of chance, but a consistent and unwavering commitment to upholding the fundamental principles of fairness and equity for all. Until next time, keep fighting the good fight.